All right. Well, welcome to Messages from the Universe. I'm Cynthia Glickman, and I have an amazing guest with me today, Tom Paladino. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
That's correct.
Awesome. And so he's really special because he is going to share with us some information about quantum healing, scalar light therapy. Do you call it scalar light therapy or scalar light?
Scalar light.
Okay,
Scalar light.
Sure. Okay. And what I wanted to begin with him is that, and by the way, welcome. Hey, Tom. Good to meet you.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks.
Good to see you. So with this technology, you have some really great testimonials, don't you?
And we do, from around the world. Thank you.
Yeah, I checked it out on your website, but some of the most powerful ones I noticed, Lyme disease, herpes, any others that you might want to mention?
Hepatitis, HIV. We have thousands of testimonies from people around the world. That's the key. Now, if something works, you want to look for the proof in the pudding. That's the key, our testimonies.
Right, yeah. So, Tom, tell us, let's just start from the beginning with somebody who maybe isn't into holistic healing or doesn't really know about any of this. Like, what the heck is scalar light anyway?
Yeah, it's very simple. It's sunlight or starlight. I'm working with sunlight or starlight. I'm not working with electricity. It's a different energy spectrum. But everybody, I say this frequently, everybody's an expert with scalar energy because everybody's seen the sun and the stars, and that energy is around us 24/7. So let there not be any mystery about this. This is the life force energy of the universe.
So how did you kind of figure out or learn that you could harness it and heal with it?
I studied Nikola Tesla, the great scientist, and I knew over 100 years ago that he was harnessing scalar energy. So I said to myself, well, I have to repeat what he's done. He was the first one to do that, and I'm doing that now. So this is free energy. Tesla was able to capture that energy from the stars. I am able to capture that energy from the stars. This is a new science. It's a new branch of physics. This technology will change the world.
So this all sounds kind of, and by the way, I am kind of woohoo waha'i, but this all sounds pretty woohoo waha'i. Can you bring it down to a little more concrete about how it actually works?
Sure. Well, if you can capture electricity, we can, a stream of electrons, we can capture scalar energy. So I have instruments, I have scalar energy instruments that capture that energy. And then I can direct it as you can direct electrical current. And when I direct this energy, scalar energy, I'm able to create a nutrient. I'm able to create an antioxidant, a vitamin, or in reverse, I'm able to take this energy and break apart a germ, a virus, a bacterium, a fungus. So the energy allows me to manipulate matter. I can create a molecule or I can break down a molecule.
So you're doing this yourself, or
yes,
is it a tool that's doing it?
It's with the instrument. The instrument allows me to control molecular bonds. So I can create a molecular bond, create a molecule, or break apart a molecular bond, break down a molecule, say, into smaller elements.
Well, so what I'm curious of, and I probably should back up and get some of the foundations here, but I've got questions. So I will back up in a moment, but how much does this interconnect with somebody's belief system? So I'll let you go, but I had another part of that.
That's a profound thought. Scalar energy is everywhere. It's from the stars, once again. So it pervades the universe. But if somebody will augment this healing or believe in it, that would accelerate the healing or perhaps make the healing more effective. So our thought pattern and our feelings will help, will abet the process.
So, because what I was wondering about is, so do some people just not get a result? And would you attribute that to them just having a negative thought pattern that I'm sick, or I'm, that repetitive thought that, oh, I have such and such disease, that they keep manifesting it?
Yeah, not necessarily. There's so many different variables. I will say this, since the energy is fundamental, that it always has its desired outcome. However, people perceive that differently. And there's so many different variables as to a person's current state of health. But I have to underscore this, scalar energy is a fundament. It is a law of science, so to speak. And I can direct that fundamental energy, and I always see the intended result. The result is guaranteed.
What?
Yes.
Shut the front door.
The result. Well, there you go.
Okay. All right. It's guaranteed. That's awesome.
So let me be blunt. I work with people by way of a photograph. This instrument picks up an energy code on a photograph. Now, for instance, if I had the herpes virus, the instrument would pick up the herpes virus, would ascertain the presence of the herpes virus on the photograph, and then break apart or destroy the herpes virus. So working with fundamental energy, you can ascertain the presence, say, of a pathogen and eradicate that pathogen. And it's a guaranteed process because we're working with a primal force. When you're working with a primal force, you can guarantee the outcome.
Wow. Well, that's quite a endorsement then, I think.
Yeah, to be candid, I use this term frequently. Scalar energy will prove to be dominion over nature.
Yeah.
In other words, if we have these instruments that control matter, then we can control the physical universe. We will have dominion over the physical universe.
So, so again, to me, that goes back to, but don't we have that within us then?
We do. That's a good point, Cynthia. Everybody with the mind and the heart. The human mind and the heart are two scalar energy vessels. The way we think, the way we feel are projections of scalar energy. So I firmly believe we're made in the image of God, and what proof of that is our mind and our heart is able to broadcast that divine energy, that life force energy. All thinking and all feelings are scalar energy emanations.
Do you have one of the lights that you could show us, by the way?
If you did screen share, I could bring up perhaps one of the photographs of the instrument.
Yeah, I was going to say, or I can pull up your site too, but there you have access now, so you can go ahead.
Okay.
And while you're doing that, I'll actually ask you another question if you can multitask.
Yeah, go ahead.
So then what's the difference between scalar energy and electromagnetic energy?
They're entirely separate. Scalar energy is the initial energy of the universe. And if you will, electricity and magnetism are a derivative or an offshoot. So the first energy from the stars, the initial energy is scalar energy, and therefrom the converted version or the imperfect version is electricity and magnetism. Can you see what I've just brought up on the screen?
Yes.
You look in the lower right-hand side. You can see 2 Tesla coils. That's part of the instrument. And you can see the room is filled with scalar energy. Now I'm holding in my hands light bulbs, and they illuminate under the presence of scalar energy. That's free energy. Do you see what I'm doing? I'm trying to demonstrate free energy.
Yeah, so explain that. Please explain.
Okay, so those are scalar energy instruments. They're so strong that they fill an environment with scalar energy. And in so doing, all I have to do is hold light bulbs close to those scalar energy instruments, and they illuminate. That is a scalar energy environment. That's an example of what we can do with these instruments. Now, if you look above, you can see photographs of a woman who submitted her photograph, she was suffering from a bacterial infection. Now, remember, I only work with photographs. I don't work with people in person. And you could see that at the top, you could see the bacterial infection that she was suffering from. Well, thereafter, she sent me her photographs. And the bottom photographs, you see she has clear skin. And her testimony is that scalar light served to clear, eradicate the bacteria that was causing this condition, this bacterial infection.
So was this, because I noticed that it mentions like psoriasis, because that looks kind of like some form of a psoriasis or eczema or something too. Is that?
It could have been. See,
okay.
It could have been. I do not diagnose. I let the people simply submit their photograph to me, and then I only work with their photograph, but I'm having a great success by working through their photograph and being able to eradicate, in this case, pathogenic disease.
So a couple questions about that then. So do you, first off, it shows that from July to November, she had a complete transformation.
Yes.
It would be awesome to see what the progress was throughout, but regardless, the question is then, do you keep the pictures under under one of those lights the whole time?
Yes, yes. When people sign up, we work with them 24 hours a day. 1 hour a day, we perform a pathogenic cleanse, and that's what served to destroy the bacteria that she was suffering from. 1 hour a day is a pathogenic cleanse. Another hour, we work with their chakras, and the remaining 22 hours, we work with them to create nutrients. So we're working.
Is that a different type of energy that you're projecting on it, or how do you?
All scalar energy. Any function that I observe is a scalar energy function. I do not work with electromagnetic energy.
So, but how do you differentiate those three different types? Like, do you just mentally say, okay, this hour we're going to do this?
Oh, I get your point. I have different instruments. So one instrument allows me to break apart microbes, germs. Another instrument allows me to balance the chakras. And then a third modality, I'm able to create nutrients. I do all of this by way of scalar energy. All of this by way of scalar energy instruments.
So do you, so with that particular person, does it typically take, is there a certain time frame that it would take different people or different situations, or?
You know, everybody's unique. So it's hard to say how quickly people respond. I will say this, I frequently work with dogs and cats, and those dogs and cats respond favorably. Now, obviously, a dog or a cat does not know that they're being treated with scalar energy. So there has to be some merit to this. If an animal or an infant that's not familiar with my process shows an improvement in health. So it's always been my contention that a photograph is the energetic copy of a person. My photograph is alive with scalar energy. And I'm not working in the electromagnetic spectrum, I'm working in the quantum spectrum, where everything happens at a flash instantaneously.
So when people send you the picture, does it have to be then like that? Those pictures were specifically of the issue. Like, do they, like, if they have something that, let's say, like you mentioned, herpes, for example, they may not have an outbreak, but like, so what do they take a picture of wherever they would have the herpes? I mean,
no, we don't want that. All we want is a bus shot.
I think those go in places you probably don't want pictures of.
We don't want that. Well, that's a good question. So to make this so simple, we just ask for a headshot, a bus shot. And why? Because your energy, your skin, your body is the same, whether it's a bus shot or a photograph of your hand. So we ask people to submit photographs of their face and nothing else. And that way we keep it clean. And that way it's simple. A photograph of the face will treat the entire body.
Okay, wow. So how, so now let's go back, right? You mentioned that there's some people like Tesla and some scientists, but I still don't understand like how you realized or learned that this actually worked. Like, how did that happen? And
I had the good fortune to meet a family by the name of Hieronymus. They're here in the United States. And I was able to work with their scalar energy instruments, and they actually sold scalar energy instruments to me back in the 90s. They're no longer alive. And that was my foothold, if you will. And I started to experiment with scalar energy instruments, and they worked. They worked back in the 90s, and now I have recalibrated these instruments, perfected them. And now 25, 30 years later, I'm to the point where I can achieve incredible results with my instruments. It's a guaranteed result. I say that without equivocation.
I heard that, yeah.
Yeah, because it's energy. Energy is dependable. There is no vagary with energy. Energy is fundamental.
So, you know what? I just feel compelled to do this, so I'm going to do it. So I sent you a headshot. We talked about this, but I'm actually going to show you why I sent you a headshot. And then I think what would be really awesome is to regroup like in a month from now and actually show the viewers the success. What do you think?
Okay, please. Why not?
Okay. And mine is in a place that I can show.
Okay.
So as we're sitting here talking, I noticed that my knees started itching. I don't know if you noticed me bend over. I was actually itching.
I didn't notice that.
But anyway, so I'll show you this one because it's easier. But this is why I was asking specifically. You know, I guess it depends. I think it's sort of assumed that that's psoriasis.
Okay.
But to be honest, I don't think anybody really knows what it is.
Okay.
I actually 10 years ago, maybe more, had this much worse. It like came up most of my arm and it was just white and bloody and everything. And I have a tiny bit on my knees too. But anyway, I mentally, like probably 10 something years ago, I'm like, okay, I read this book about healing. It's probably actually more like 20 years ago now, come to think of it. It was like 2000 was the year. Anyway, I'm like, okay, I've read this book about healing. Like, I don't know if I believe this, but you know what? I'm going to just decide that I can heal this, like heal my body. And I started like doing this, like, okay. And I started like just holding it and sending love to my elbow. And I actually healed it. It went completely away. And it's been kind of resurfacing just in the last couple of years. And I'm like, well, what's out of balance? Like, why is that happening? And just in the last couple of days, I intentionally started saying, okay, I'm going to clear this out. I'm sending it love. Like I'm doing a meditation every morning.
Right.
But yeah, let's work on that. Because wouldn't that be awesome if we could come back and be like, boom, it's all gone.
Let's do that by all means.
Okay.
And I want to be able to see some significant progress. You know, if you think that is psoriasis, why not? Let's work it.
Yeah.
And I have had, say, some success with psoriasis. I can't say in all conditions. Yes.
All right. Well, that's what I'm guessing. I'm already working on it on the mental front. So
yes, good for you.
Between the light and that, yeah, let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
And then
I want to prove this to you, so let's do it.
Yeah.
We'll sign up for that free trial.
Okay. So I will jump to that, and then we'll talk a little bit more about. I'm going to share my screen now. I don't know what it's. There we go. Is that it? I think I'm actually just trying to share your website. There it is. Because what I noticed is that it, like these are all the things that you do work on: fat metabolism, female hormones, male hormones. I know I'm 49 at my age. Like I know, and for men too. Like our hormones start to shift, and so I was kind of curious about that.
Sure. We have the ability with these instruments to create hormones. How do we do that? We take the existing elements in the body and simply rearrange them into pregnenolone, testosterone, etc. So a scalar energy instrument allows us to create hormones. Now, for women, we create female hormones, and men, we create male hormones. I am on the male hormone therapy, and I feel the difference. I feel that I have a greater sense of strength and clarity while I'm on male hormones. So if you want, we'll work with you, and we'll give you a sample of female hormones. Let's see if that helps you, Cynthia.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it could all be interconnected, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So the website, is this the usd.scalarlight.com?
Yes, that's it. Scalarlight.com. Yes.
And they can go here for the 15-day free
Correct.
trial, right?
Correct. Yeah, let me make that clear. Anybody in the world can sign up for the 15-day free trial. Now, remember, you're going to email us your photograph. This is how this new technology works. It works through your photograph. Your photograph has your energy signature on it. So we work with people around the world, and we're able to promote this quantum healing at a distance. It's the new science of scalar energy. It's quite unique. Why? Because these instruments are unique. So I don't think there's anybody else in the world that's conducting this type of research right now.
Well, so that's the other piece to this, is I know that we can measure frequencies, but is this something we can measure, or do we have to just look at the results?
No, you have to look at the results. Why can't you measure this? Because it's not a finite unit. In other words, you can measure a mile or an inch or a meter or a gallon because that's finite. To the contrary, scalar energy is the omnipresence of God. It's an infinite unit, so to speak. It cannot be measured. You can see the before and after results. I don't think it can be measured.
Well, so this is what I was thinking about too, is like, can this be, I mean, the power of prayer is also,
yes.
I mean, you can see miraculous things happen. And that's
Correct.
why I was wondering, with these different tools, is it almost utilizing the same energy?
Exactly. That's brilliant. Exactly, Cynthia. Exactly. It's the identical. When you pray, you're broadcasting scalar energy, or a positive thought is a broadcast of scalar energy. Exactly.
Interesting. So speaking of measuring, because, I am a mathematician, so I do like to have, be able to look at some of that.
Sure.
You can, so with the power of prayer, they have studied it, and they have been able to measure effects, right? Results when people pray. And so I think that that's the same thing here. I mean, all of these results are pretty powerful that you've had so far.
Yeah. We have probably 3,000 testimonies on the website. That's the key. I look at results. I look at results, and people write in. These are anonymous testimonies. I don't have any influence over them. And after 3,000 testimonies, something's up. Something is happening that is favorable.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to give you some math behind this also, since you're a mathematician.
Good. Give me some numbers.
You're familiar with the phi ratio, the golden mean, 1.618?
Yes.
Okay. Well, there is a phi principle to a scalar wave. There's a minor groove and a major groove. The major groove is 1.618 times the dimension, the length of the minor groove. In other words, every scalar wave has embodied in it the golden proportion, or the sacred mean, or the sacred number, which is a transcendent number, the golden mean, 1.618, meaning what? Scalar energy embodies the phi ratio, the Fibonacci sequence. You with me? Follow me? And why do we see the Fibonacci sequence in nature? Because it owes its source, the origin of all Fibonacci sequences are scalar waves, which are embodied with the phi ratio, the golden mean. So that's the cause and effect of the universe. The cause of the golden mean, the Fibonacci sequence, is a scalar wave.
Okay. That's awesome.
That's the guaranteed outcome. Now, a lot of people say, why does nature have the Fibonacci sequence or the golden mean or the golden proportion or the divine proportion, 1.618? It's a transcendent number. It's a never-ending number. It's embodied, it's encoded. It receives its intelligence from a scalar wave. All scalar waves exhibit that phi proportion.
So, what actually inspired you to get so serious about this? And it sounds like you've created your life around it. So
I have it because it's going to change the world, Cynthia. This technology will have greater impact than that of the computer.
So here's the interesting, if they allow it to come out in a big way, right? I mean, we already are seeing a lot of censorship and
It'll come out by God's will. And mark my words, scalar energy will have a greater impact than that of the computer.
So is this, I believe you when you say that. Does this have any relation to the med bed thing, or is that a different type of energy?
I know nothing about the med beds. I've heard reports, so I'm just going to be quiet about that. I know nothing about med beds.
Okay. I have just kind of touched the tip of the iceberg on those, but that's an interesting technology. And I think it might be sort of similar in the way it's supposed to be set up. So, but whatever, maybe we'll have somebody talk about those. I haven't been, this is my little guy, by the way.
Okay.
Anyway, so how does it help to assemble nutrients in the body?
Okay, well, picture this. Everybody is composed of elements: carbon, oxygen, phosphorus, nitrogen. So imagine my two fists represent elements. I send scalar energy into the body, and those elements rearrange into vitamins and minerals and antioxidants. So I take the existing elements in the body, I subject it to scalar intelligence, and then scalar intelligence creates vitamins, minerals, amino acids.
So I'm sorry, I'm kind of going slightly on a tangent. It just kind of popped in my head again about the tools. Like, how did you design these tools? How did you come up with this?
Yeah.
I mean, are you just a total genius that?
God's design. To let you know, I do receive messages from God.
Okay.
And God gave me the wisdom to do this. It's all groundbreaking research, meaning, how did I learn? I didn't learn from a classroom. I learned from God.
Did you channel the information, or did you like?
I have the ability.
In meditation.
I have the gift of mysticism, and there were a number of Catholic mystics that provided me messages from Jesus Christ and the Blessed Virgin Mary.
Beautiful. That's you. Can you expand on that? That's the juicy stuff right there.
Okay, well, if that's what you want to get into, I've received thousands of messages from Jesus Christ and the Blessed Virgin Mary, and they told me to do this, and they gave me the instructions, and all of this really is of a supernatural origin. This is not from a college classroom.
That's pretty profound. Did you, were you in meditation? Like, were you in the shower and you had this inspiration?
These mystical events have been with me for 50 years now. This is a lifetime of mysticism.
So 15 or 50?
50.
Okay. And how old are you now? Can I ask?
61.
So at 11 years old, like, what happened? Where, like, did something open up within you, or what?
You know, in many ways, Mother Mary took me in, and she guided me. And this was really the influence of Mother Mary and Jesus. Sure.
Oh my gosh, it's so awesome because, well, I this is about messages from the universe. That's this channel, and I've had probably, I don't know, not quite as profound of experiences as you, but recently, like Jesus came to me, like I woke up at 3:00 in the morning and I saw Jesus, and I was like, because I was like, oh, it's 3:00 in the morning, I'm gonna go back to bed. And then I saw Jesus. So I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm going back to bed. I guess I better get up. But I don't know. I don't know completely what all the significance is. I just know that he and others are definitely around me and, you know, guiding my steps in some ways. So
yeah, good for you. You're right. And we have to look to that spiritual guide. You know, if you just look at this world from a mechanistic standpoint, it doesn't work. There is a spiritual dimension.
Well, how awesome. That's super fun. So at 11, you started to get guidance, and then are you open to that? Can you share a little more about the journey?
Sure. Like, well, even as a youngster, I understood things without having to think about it or use deduction. In other words, it was mysticism. It was some people call that a download or a flatus. I just knew. I had the gift of knowledge. And it's not from a classroom, and it's not from deduction. God simply gives you this knowledge. And I have that knowledge. I've had that knowledge all along to develop this process with scalar energy from scratch. How could I do this from scratch? Well, somebody gave me the creativity. It's from God.
Yeah. So along that path, though, you were guided by humans as well, right?
Yes.
Had a mentor, or was it a mentor that was already studying this?
Yeah, it was a combination of divine instruction and human instruction. And I give credence to a woman by the name of Sarah Hieronymus. Her husband was the inventor of these scalar energy instruments. I never met him. He was deceased. But she gave me a 5-year understudy in scalar energy. And her input was invaluable.
So are there many people that are utilizing this technology now, or
no,
are you
sadly,
the only one?
No. I'm the only one with this type of instrumentation. And I don't know of anybody, frankly, that has scalar energy instruments. I've looked, and what I've seen on the internet are not valid scalar energy instruments. So I won't get into that, but I'll simply say I have what I consider to be valid scalar energy instrument that control that scalar energy dimension, and hence I can do incredible things with scalar energy that I could not do with electricity.
Wow. So, and this all ties back to Nikola Tesla because he was into the free energy, but did he also go down the path of scalar energy as well?
He was the originator of scalar energy. He's the first man to control and harness scalar energy, to the point that he built a tower in Long Island, New York, and he wanted to give the world free energy from this tower.
Right.
If you look closely, Cynthia, at the tower, there's no substations anywhere around. So you're asking yourself, where's the energy coming from? The stars. It's just a tower that captures star power, star energy. And he was able to transmit energy in a wireless fashion, scalar energy, and illuminate objects. Now, had we supported Tesla, we would have had free energy today. But nefarious forces stood in the way, and they prevented his work from moving forward.
So where do you think we're at now with, speaking of nefarious forces, you know, some of this has appeared really, really dark, I guess I could say. But I'm actually very optimistic that this is actually more of the awakening. And what are your thoughts on all of that?
I agree. This is part of the awakening. And the point of technology is to improve the human condition. I will go on record by saying scalar energy will have an immeasurable improvement on our lifestyle. So this technology must be embraced, and we must make this known throughout the world. We must embrace this technology. And if so, it's a gift from God. We will all benefit. That's the point of our conversation today.
Well, awesome. I think it's great that to get more information out and for people to, especially right now, realize that the profound power that we have in the universe or the stars, from what you're saying. I'm curious about, like, the stars what are the stars then? Because I've heard, oh, well, they're angels that, I don't know. Maybe you can explain.
If you look at the center of any star, it's perfect energy. It's a perfect coherence. So stars really are the storehouses of God's light. That's why stars never fade or decay or burn out or fizzle out, call it what you will. There's no entropy with the star. This is what powers the universe, scalar energy, which is perpetual energy, which creates perpetual stars. And the energy from a star then degrades into electromagnetic energy. That's why we have death and disease. But the point I'm trying to make is there is a perpetual energy machine. It's called a star.
Cool. Thank you for that. So I'm gonna switch gears again, kind of back to what's going on in the health field and that whole agenda, I suppose. How do you think people are taking to this in the traditional arena?
Many people, I will say, people have been very open to this, and I'm really pleased with the acceptance. And most people are smart enough and mature enough to look and establish some type of understanding before they judge this work. So I give credit to people. People are intelligent and they do want to see changes. And if you can present this in a very convincing fashion, they'll get it. Many people now support us. We're all grassroots. So I give credit to the people. And on the flip side of the coin, I have had no help from academia, government, big business, or any type of a foundation or trust. Meaning what? Meaning I depend upon the people. It's all grassroots.
So I had a question, but let me just remind folks, if you like this content, I'm going to do a quick plug for me. Smash the like button, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And they can find you at your website, right? And
Scalarlight.com, yes.
Scalarlight.com. And so how can people get involved with what you're doing?
Sign up for the 15-day free session. Try it out. If it makes sense and it resonates with you, then contact me. I'm holding up a collage. We can work with millions of photographs a day. The point I'm trying to make is we can miniaturize a photograph. Today in my laboratory, I work with 250,000 people by way of their photograph.
How do all these people find you? That's pretty awesome.
Through the 15-day free trial. And we have agents, we have Christian missionaries who send us photographs of entire villages.
Oh, wow.
Yesterday, I received over 400 photographs from India, where we receive photographs from around the world. We're becoming world famous. So how do people find us? By grassroots, by people like you, Cynthia, who get the message out.
Cool. So, shoot, I keep having great questions for you, and they keep fleeting. What's with that? Shoot. All right. Well, while I'm thinking of what that was, can you what's your most profound? Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you. Okay. But what's your most profound healing experience, whatever, with this technology?
6 weeks ago, we received confirmation from Tanzania that everybody that we worked with is now no longer HIV positive. we started working with people.
We're all HIV positive?
Yeah, we started working with people in Tanzania in 2017. And again, we have agents around the world, Christian missionaries who send us photographs. And we worked with those people late 2017, 2018. And we waited a couple of years, they waited a couple of years, and we just received testimonies from them in Tanzania. Everybody we work with at the HIV clinic in Tanzania, everybody, their HIV has been eradicated. Not one person has HIV. Now that's their account, that's their firsthand account. And I have to rely upon people because I don't work with people directly, I work with their force field on a photograph. But every person in Tanzania claims they no longer have HIV.
Man, you're gonna definitely cause some waves with those, those folks that want people to do this.
Right. You're right. It will be geopolitical in a matter of time.
Yeah. Unfortunately, but if it's time, and like you mentioned, God and wants this to come out, there's no stopping it at this point. And I think that we do have enough people on the planet that are awake enough now to be open to the possibilities. So the question I was going to ask is, have you thought of, or are you already in the process of producing these, like, so that other people can use this technology? Because that's a lot of people for you to handle all on your own, Tom.
Yeah, I cannot reproduce the laboratory. It's taken me years to do so. So what I propose is this: having people geographically located, so to speak, around the world, taking photographs of entire villages, cities, etc. So I envisioned to set up a photographic network. How about that? In which people around the world can send us millions of photographs.
So it's all on you then.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And sadly, because there's no other scalar energy researcher that is this advanced. I don't know of anybody else that has this type of technology.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's not any way to reproduce the.
No, it took me 30 years to build this laboratory. It's not as if I can reproduce.
It's just a whole lab. Holy smokes! All right, well, then I guess you folks better go find him now. And you're going to need a predecessor too.
Yeah, well,
I mean, at some point you're going to say, okay, I've had enough time here on planet Earth, and somebody else is going to have to take the reins, right?
You're right, but who wants to spend 50 years in research? And I have to make this clear: there's no money in this. There's no money. You can't pay your mortgage. There's no industry that's developed. So how many people really, for the love of science, the love of God and humanity, want to spend years, decades in research and not be compensated?
Well, you've done all the research. So now maybe as people start to evolve, just like the med bed, I mean, people are willing to pay big money for those things.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what the future holds. It's all grassroots moving forward, and I'm not trying to dissuade anybody. You have to have a movement of the heart here, the movement of the spirit. And those of you who want to change the world, contact me.
Awesome. All right. Well, is there anything else that you would want to share or add?
No, it's been a great interview. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I want to know more about your experiences with Jesus.
Our next interview, how's that?
Yes, we could talk about that next time.
Okay.
All right, my friend, thank you everyone for joining. And if you do, definitely go check him out. And if you do have questions that you'd like to share, we're going to plan to regroup in about 30 to 60 days. So, right, with my success, with my own, whatever it is, psoriasis, itchy skin. All right. And like, subscribe, and have an amazing day. Love you.